Okay, so hello everybody and welcome. This is our third and final webinar of our three series of webinars on low vision. And today the topic is mental health. Maša will be the speaker today. We just figure out, Maša, I will say it, we figured out that our title was a little bit incorrect. Excuses, we are not native speakers. So the actual title was meant to be the impact of visual impairment on quality of mental health. No, not the mental health and its impact on visual impairment. So yes, I will tell a little bit about Maša. Maša holds a master's degree in psychology, and she's currently a doctoral student at Faculty of Art in Ljubljana, in the University of Ljubljana. She's also a trainee in psychoanalytic psychotherapy and conducting individual psychotherapy for adults under supervision. So because the webinar is about mental health, I asked Maša, what does she do for her mental health, for her well-being? So she told me that she's seeking balance between work and leisure time. She loves reading books. She likes to travel. She likes spending time in nature. She takes care of genuine relationships. So this all sounds really wonderful, Maša. And I think that's what everyone here likes to do and would like to achieve. So, but why is this a problem? You will tell us a little bit more about this, right? So I just, I will let you to continue now. And I hope you will all enjoy this webinar. Thank you.
Can I say, sorry to interrupt, Maša, just one thing, Nastya. You said that the topic was the impact of visual impairment in mental health, right?
Yes.
It was the other way around.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
that was my lapsus, so sorry for that.
Don't worry. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Nastya, for this, for your presentation. So as Nastya has already mentioned, today we will talk about mental health. We will talk about what mental health actually is, what influences it, what is the connection between mental health and visual impairment, and how can we actually improve mental health. So I designed our webinar to be interactive. So I would like to encourage you to be active, but of course to the extent that it's also comfortable for you. So my first question for you actually is that when you think about mental health, what do you think that actually is? What do we mean when we say mental health? Any ideas? Mental health is actually a very complex thing. So maybe if I help you with that, if we look at according to the World Health Organization, mental health is, first of all, a basic human right for all people. This actually includes the right to be protected from mental health risks, the right for accessible, acceptable, and good quality care, and also the right to literacy, dependency, and inclusion in the community. And mental health is also more than the absence of mental disorders. It actually exists on a complex continuum, which is experienced differently from one person to the next. And it's also a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with different stressors of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and also contribute to the community. So we can see that actually mental health is a very, very broad concept, which is also influenced by many factors. So what do you think mental health, which factors do impact our mental health? if you think about your personal or work life, what does impact your feelings? How do you see yourself, ourselves, others, and the world?
Stress, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Personal or familiar situations that are complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stress is very present in these times. So when we talk about factors, there are many groups of factors. So I will mention only a few so that you get a more bright insight. So the first group that impacts mental health are biological factors. We sometimes forget actually this group of factors. So, for example, a family history of mental health disorders can increase the developing similar conditions due to genetic predispositions. So that's why at the beginning of the treatment, psychologists, psychotherapists, and also psychiatrists ask their patients if there is any history of mental health issues in their family. And another important factor is also our brain chemistry, because imbalances in neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, if you maybe heard about that, and also norepinephrine can also contribute to mental health disorders, for example, anxiety and depression. So the next big group of factors, a group about that we could talk actually for the whole day, are psychological factors that include trauma, coping mechanisms, and also self-esteem and self-worth. So to sum this up somehow, if we look, for example, about trauma, modern research shows that actually trauma is not what happens to you, but what happens inside you as a result, what happens to you. So how we actually experience and what happened to us depends actually on various factors. Among these factors are for example, coping mechanisms or defense mechanisms. These are mechanisms that are mostly unconscious and that mean, for example, if you're under stress, maybe we can deny something. We can say, no, that it didn't happen to me. How could that happen? Or we can rationalize what happened to us. We can use humor. We can seek for help. We can idealize, for example, ourselves or others or what happened to us. So there are many, many different coping mechanisms actually. And another important factor is also, as I said before, our self-esteem. So research has also shown that people who have low self-esteem are more likely to feel hopeless. They feel that they don't know or that they don't have the power to do anything about, very little actually, about what is happening to them. And people who have better self-esteem more often, for example, seek for help and feel that they also are worth more, that maybe few people who have lower self-esteem. So the third group of factors are social and environmental factors. It include relationships, social support, socioeconomic status, and also discrimination and stigma. So if we face discrimination and stigma in the long term, that can worsen our mental health. And if we have relationships, if we have people that we know we can lean on, that we can call if we feel we need someone to talk to, it's very actually, that can be very better for the outcome of the stress we are experiencing. So on the next slide, we see lifestyle factors. These factors actually include the way we live our life. So, for example, how much do we sleep? Do we sleep enough? Do we sleep? If you don't sleep enough, I think that everyone has experienced that the next day we don't feel so well. Also, how much or what we eat, when we eat, do we eat enough? Do we eat quality? Is the food that we eat okay or not? Do we exercise enough? And another thing is also substance abuse that can also worsen our mental health in the long term. So the next group are life events or stressors. These include significant life changes. So life changes, for example, if something happened in our family, if we lose someone, if we lost our job, that can be a trigger for very different mental health issues. And stressor can also be positive stress. For example, if a child is born, if we get a new job, if we, for example, get married, if we move, that can be a positive thing, but it can also be stressful and impact our mental health. And also important factor is chronic stress. So if we are under stress all the time, if we have so much worries, if we don't know how to deal with our life in the long term, and can also very much impact our well-being. And on the another slide, we see the last group of factors, and this is access to mental health care. So if the access to mental health services is somehow limited, that can delay diagnosis and also treatment, so people don't get help when they actually need it. And that is a very big problem in many countries, for example, also for Slovenia. If someone needs, for example, some treatment within the healthcare programs, you need to wait for a psychologist for more than 1 year, actually. And if you need a psychiatrist, you also need to wait, for example, from 6 months to 1 year or also longer. And the last impact is also stigma. For example, if someone feels that something is wrong with them, this person also won't ask for help. So now we actually looked at many different groups and factors. And now if we link that with visual impairment. So how do you think visual impairment impacts our mental health if you think about these factors that I mentioned, or any other factors that you think about?
maybe the auto-esteem, for example, that you don't manage to get out of your problems because they seem to be increased because of your lack of sight.
Maybe we have to take into account also our body, because we who have no sight or few sight, we are always our body is hard, it's not soft. We are so and that we are very I can't say in English, napeti, ne?
Tense.
Tense, yes. We are very tense. And this tension also has a big impact into our life. This tension is during all days. It's not ending only when we are sleeping. Maybe we are a little bit free and so relaxed. But otherwise, our body, our head, all things, we are in tension. I think it is also a big impact into the quality of life. If maybe Barbara will remember, we have the conference in Lashko, and there was one very good speaker, Joyce van Boven from Netherlands, and she mentioned this tension, and this tension is named fatigue. So the circumstance is that we are we are not so relaxed, and we are tired. So that is, we don't know why, but we are tired. We become tired. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a very important thing you said, because everyone who is facing visual impairment is a thing that it's always there. You're always reminded of it. So how we experience our body and our vision and our actually ourselves within us and also in the society, and also how the society is seeing or reacting to visual impairment. That is also very important, and that can also impact the feeling of tension inside the body, because research has shown that many people reported to fear sight loss more than any other sense. And also being diagnosed with an eye condition can, of course, lead to different reactions. For example, like we talked about before, different defense mechanisms. So someone can live in denial, someone cannot accept what is happening, someone is searching for things they can do. Okay, my sight is not okay, or maybe it will get worse, what can I do now? So reactions are very different, but very well documented is the link between sight loss and depression, because the prevalence of depression in visually impaired people is at least twice as high as that found in the general population. And also people with sight who are facing visual impairment are more likely to feel lonely or lacking in social support than the general population. And also a number of studies has reported a decreased level of social functioning when the vision actually progressed. That was I think that's a very important thing when we talk about also visually impaired people. So these are only a few reactions or feelings that can emerge somehow. There are many more because it really depends on the individual who is facing visual impairment. Or it's also important if the person is visually impaired from birth or if the visual impairment occurs during the life. It's also a big difference because if a person gets visually impaired during life, the individual has to link his identity that he has before the vision loss and the new identity. So that's a very can be a very long way. So now I would actually like to focus on a topic that I think is very important if you want to understand the adjustment process to visual impairment. So I will present you a research that I found. The research examined the socio-emotional impact of sight loss on a sample of 18 blind and visually impaired individuals. So the reactions were very, in some ways, very similar. So I will present you the results. I will also read to you some statements from the participants, and after that we can also have a discussion about that. So the participants in this study were talking about coping with deterioration of their sight. Some of the participants, for example, talked about noticing symptoms of deterioration before they got their diagnosis. So after they got it, they in one way felt relieved because they actually knew what is happening to them, what was happening to them. And some participants also talked about things that they felt they should do in preparation for their sight loss. That occurred especially by participants that the doctors told them that they will lose sight, but they didn't know when and to what extent actually. Every participant in the study also talked about experiencing loss. And some of participants also linked their sight loss to bereavement. And for example, one participant said, I will read that to you now. There is a great loss and it's like bereavement. You know, it will never be there again. It's gone forever. You feel as though someone has chipped a bit out of your heart and your soul. You think something is gone and you will never see it again. Some participants also talked about the loss of independence and freedom. And one participant said, as your sight gets worse, you're losing all the time because you're losing your independence and you've got to have the help, which makes you lose your pride, and that sort of takes down your self-esteem. Some participants also talked about the loss of skills, including reading, and also about the feeling of loss of future plans. And one participant, for example, said, I was intending to go away to work in Russia and then to Australia. I thought about taking my wife and child over, but that got hit on the head. 12 of 18 participants also expressed regret at loss about losing their hobbies. For example, one participant said, I loved going to see the Scottish National Orchestra, but I didn't go this year. I could hear it, but it's not the same when you cannot see it. So what's the point? All participants also talked about their experience of their perception of themselves. So one participant, for example, said, I feel like the odd one out. I'll never see myself as I was before. I feel different, but I can't put my finger on it. Something is gone. I've lost a bit of a spark. My life's a dimmer candle now. All participants also talked about experiencing others. Some also felt isolated by others. I wonder if people understand the loneliness of being blind. In a crowded room, I could feel lonely. I've been to the things when not a soul has spoken to me. They speak to others, but not to me, because they see the white stick. They see I cannot. They know I cannot see them. Some also talked about not being understood by others. And that feeling was very present by visually impaired people, because they said that they feel somehow in between people who are fully sighted and blind, and they said that they often don't actually felt understood. Because fully sighted people said that, okay, yes, you still can see something, you can see, and blind people said that they should be happy about their sight that they actually have. So one participant, for example, said, the general public treat you differently because they don't understand. They don't understand sight loss. Some also talked about their experiences of being treated as they had low intelligence. One participant, for example, said, there are people who treat you as stupid. I don't have a hearing problem. I don't have an understanding problem. Some also talked about feeling burden and as a nonsense to others. One participant said, when I was at work, when they were going out, I often didn't go with them because I didn't want to be a nuisance to people. You didn't want to feel like you're baggage, or you're stopping them enjoying themselves quite as much because you were dragging along. Some also talked about feeling patronized by others. There are some people who would pat you on the head if they got the opportunity. Some also talked about feeling vulnerable. You feel as though you could be a target. You're vulnerable, and no one wants to be that. You always want to be in charge of yourself. So on the next slide, we can see that participants also talked about experiencing rehabilitation and actually about the emotional impact that rehabilitation had for them. One participant, for example, said, It's like another step along the way, in another nail in the coffin. All participants also talked about their reluctance of using their cane that was especially present by participants who were partially sighted, and actually the cane would be useful for them, but they didn't want to use it. They wanted me to have a white stick, and I said, I can't bear the thought. I won't have it. It's shown up. It's segregating you in some way. It's a sign of segregation. And some participants also talked about things that they identify that were very helpful for them. That was, for example, having a religious faith, being socially integrated, having choices, not feeling limited, also feeling fulfilled, and changing their attitude towards life, and also having a role model. And some participant also said, because you know someone has coped with it, you know you could too. So if we look at these results, we can actually see, and also the conclusion of this study was that for all participants, there came a moment when they felt that their sight or their visual impairment somehow impacted their lives. Some sense that during the diagnostic process, others view rehabilitation, and others actually later on. For example, one woman who was first fully sighted and then got visually impaired and blind at the end, said that even when she finally lost her sight, she didn't think that her life has changed. It was only when her husband died that the impact truly hit home somehow, and then she realized that she doesn't know how to cope with her sight loss, actually. So now I would like to hear from you. What do you think about these results and actually different themes that occur by participants? Any thoughts?
Well, I will ask something then. Maša, when you said that here in Slovenia, for example, you wait for a long time to get some psychological treatment. So I think it really helps that you get some information from people who are also dealing with visual impairment. And I think that in Slovenia we have quite good network of these organizations or organized groups of people who come together, and this really helps. And maybe I would like to ask you, how is in your countries, because here we are from many countries. How is the system? Does it encourage joining together people with visual impairment? Do you have many organizations that take care of this issue?
Maybe, Nastya, I can say something if it's possible.
Yes, of course.
for me 25 years ago, when my sight deteriorated. For me, it helped a lot the peer support group in our blind and partially sighted regional association. We have one group, and to be together with people with the same or quite equal difficulty or disability, it helps a lot. I think so. That's my opinion. And also to talk with a therapist, psychotherapist. I also had a few not lessons, but few meetings with psychologists in eye clinic. She worked that time for the eye clinic, and it helped a lot. And when I after these meetings, people at home asked me, "What did she say? What did she say?" No, she said nothing. I was speaking. I told her a lot of things, and I put my burden on her table. It helped a lot that time. So that, I think, it is important. All these things are important here. Yes. And now is also positive psychology. I don't know how you can say this. It's a part of psychology, or a sort of psychology, and it is also maybe the lifestyle, or what can we say? Yes, it's also it helps also. I think so. Thank you.
Yeah, this can be very, very, of course, very helpful. When I maybe Nastya, when I said before that you need to wait here, I was talking about a bit in general. If someone who is blind or partially sighted needs help, he can always turn on the National Center for Blind and Visually Impaired, also in Ljubljana. I will present this part later on, actually. So yeah, that is really, really important to get people like these participants also in this study that presented, said that they maybe need a role model, someone who maybe understands some challenges in a different way. So yeah, when we maybe talk about what people who are visually impaired actually need, and that is also linked to your question, Asya, how do you in your countries actually face this maybe somehow challenge in mental health and visual impairment? What do you think that people, what do you see in your work or in your personal life, what people actually need?
Hello.
Hello.
I think it's very important to learn new skills such as the game, for example, or technological skills that allow you maybe to work and to do activities in the daily life without seeing. And I think that all that skills helps you to improve your self-esteem and your self-confidence.
Yeah, so learning new skills, and that can improve also your self-esteem.
Yes, I think so.
Anyone else, maybe?
Hi, maybe it's important to meet peers, to know how others can do their things as a visually impaired people. I had this session too, so it helped me a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. So learn from others.
And one more. In Hungary, when someone lose the vision, we can go to elemental rehabilitation free of charge, and there are a lot of modules. For example, we can go to psychologist free of charge, and that's it.
Oh, nice. That's very good. Good practice.
Yesterday, if I can say something, yesterday I read a post that Nacho posted on eView Facebook site. It was about the project, Visual project. Maybe some of you are familiar with the project, and it was about, so it was including elderly people who got visual impairment, because we all know that many people are starting to lose their sight when they are older. And the generation is also like marginalized because they don't have these skills anymore. So it's also important that projects like this are like we all organizations, we think about this kind of projects. How can we include different groups of visually impaired people? So we try to like teach them skills and everything. Yes?
Sorry, Nastya, this project, Visual, it was a past project or is now going on? Because I know one project from about more than 10 years ago, Visual project, who was very, very successful. And one man from, I think from Scotland or Ireland, Alan Sati, yes, he made it. But he died. He's not here anymore. He was a very nice man. He was sighted, full sighted, but I think his wife was blind, and he made this project. I can remember it, but I don't know what you said, that this Visual project will start again, or you said that it was a past project.
Nastya, if I might, since I was the one who posted it, yeah, it was a past project, and
yes, yes.
the past project.
I was there.
And,
Yes. I was active when Alan Sati, showed this project, the results and all things. It is very good. Yes.
Yeah, and of course,
it can be sort of maybe support for future. Yes. To do something equal or something similar. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just as a final remark from my side, I would say that since the project was about involving elderly visually impaired people into lifelong learning, just to foster their inclusion in society, I guess that in the long run, this also has a positive impact on mental health. Just like in the sense that you are, making people feel more active and making them feel that they can engage with many lifelong learning activities in their lives and so on.
Yes, fine, nice.
And also, I think it's very good that you jump in with this Nacho project, because even though it's quite old, as you said, Barbara, it's 10 years old. I think it's one of those projects, as many others, that EBU has that not only are successful, but also they can help for the time being when they are released, but also for furthermore. So it's good to have social networks where from time to time we remind our members and the society that is following us in the different social media that these issues has to be raised. Otherwise, it seems like our work is only for one thing, one term, and it's not like that at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara, that you said it. I think that's really true because I've been quite new at Union, like working for 3 years. And if Nacho didn't post this, I would not seen it yesterday. And it really helped me with our work because we're preparing something similar for the national call, and it really helped me. So yeah, it was not for nothing. So yeah, it's good that we are keep updating the results of the past projects. That's really good.
Okay. Maybe if we also look what some research says. I was also finding. I found a research, quite few researches actually, about what individuals, as we now talked about, what do they need? How do they also experience the rehabilitation, and what they wish they would maybe have, and it's not so maybe not so present. There is, of course, some researchers ask the question: does, and I found that really interesting, does time really heal all wounds, and what visually impaired actually need in their to improve their quality of life in any areas actually. Participants in numerous studies actually said that they really that it's really helpful to learn new skills, to meet others who are also facing same or similar problems. And what I found really interesting, that's why I also want to share that with you, is that they also wish they could have an opportunity to have the place to talk about the loss they experienced. Research has also shown that actually that the grieving process for vision loss, and it doesn't matter if the vision loss is like that someone is fully blind or partially sighted, in some way that the process is similar than grieving process for the death of a person. Both processes are very similar because when a person loses a part of all of their vision, this person feels that he is losing a part, actually a whole part of their lives, and that this part will be never there again. So some participants also express that the loss of vision is a primary loss, and other losses come somehow with time. Every time they encounter something they have to give up because of their vision, the grieving process actually restarts. So therefore, the adjustment process is a lifetime process. So it's always present. But what we can do is to help these individuals to cope with these changes, to maybe help them to have better self-esteem, that they have, again, the feeling that they have more control of their lives. And also a very important challenge faced by people who experience different actually vision losses is a fear of the complete vision loss. Research results also indicated that individuals with visual impairment, as I mentioned it also before, often feel helpless and lonely because often those who are blind or also people who are sighted tell them that they need to be grateful for being able to see something, and that it's not so difficult as for people who are fully blind. Meanwhile, they themselves feel somehow that they're somewhere in between. And individuals with visual impairment, especially those whose vision can deteriorate in the future, also experience anticipatory grief. And actually this is a form of grieving of a loss that a person didn't actually experience yet. So they know that the sight loss will happen, but they don't know when and how. And research results also highlighted the need to develop different strategies for helping these individuals, because this form of grieving is often overlooked. And on the other hand, it's very stressful because people consciously or unconsciously are thinking about the question, when will I lose my sight, or will this actually happen, or to what extent will that happen? So before we already talked about what can we do to improve our mental health in general, and also when we are facing, or if someone other is facing, visual impairment. So some basic things that can be very helpful are, for example, that we seek professional help if we feel we need it. Also, that we stay connected, that we talk to people, that we try to find someone who we can trust, who maybe is facing similar challenges that we do. That we try to practice some stress, also stress management. So, for example, different relaxation techniques. Very helpful can be healthy lifestyle choices. For example, as I talked about at the beginning, so that we exercise, that we sleep enough, that we have somehow that we eat also enough, and also that we establish a routine. For example, often when people are facing vision loss, a very important thing is to find a new routine, because that can provide also structure and a sense of control, and people also feel more safe if they have also a routine. Also that we set realistic goals, for example, that we break down our big goals to smaller steps, because this also can boost our self-esteem and also provide a sense of accomplishment. Another thing that we could all do, but it's very hard these days, is also that we would limit our screen time. Research has actually shown that it would be very, very productive also for our sleep if we wouldn't use our screens 2 hours before we go to sleep. So that we also engage in different activities that we enjoy, and also that we try to learn to manage negative thoughts. For that, for example, counseling or therapy can also be a very good thing. And that we also seek support groups, so that we try to find someone that is facing similar challenges and that we can learn from also from each other. So I mentioned before that here in Slovenia we have different, as also Nastya said, different support groups for people who are facing vision loss. There are different organizations for blind and partially sighted that can actually be very helpful for that. And we also have this National Center for Comprehensive Rehabilitation for blind and visually impaired at the eye clinic in Ljubljana. This center has also employed a psychologist and also a clinical psychologist. Within this framework of this center, people who are facing vision loss or also their families, siblings, can ask for help if they need it, and they can actually, if they want, they can go to individual therapy or group psychotherapy, and they also conduct psychodiagnostic assessments for individuals with visual impairment. For example, this diagnostic assessments address issues related to cognition in different emotions, mood, employment, and they're also conducting these procedures also for children and youngsters. So my actually next question for you is, what do you think we all could do, also you in your countries, or if you also have some other good practices? I see that you have many of them, so I'm very happy to hear about that. But yeah, what could we do? What if you have something in mind to help individuals to improve their mental health, people who are facing visual impairments, and maybe also for their environment, for their families, friends, partners, and so on?
In Spain, for example, when you lose your loss and you come to ONCE, which is the National Organization of the Blind, they really help a lot during this first step, trying to not only from the practical things, but also from rehabilitation and also psychological point of view, help not only the blind people, but also their families. Because after all, it is not only about the blind or partially sighted person.
Yeah.
I think it's important that the surrounding people who know you how to deal with this, because people normally forget about you see. So normally you talk and you say over there, go there, so abstract that it is important for family and school and so on to have a bit of guidelines on this. And this helps a lot for the person in particular, as we were saying before, not only with the self-esteem, but also with how to deal with the mental health and mental issues that come joined to the loss of sight.
Anyone else? Or maybe if there is another question, comment, thought.
Well, I will say something again then. Yeah, like Barbara said, that it's important to include the whole family in this process. I see from my work experience how it's also important for parents who get children with visual impairment, how they seek this peer support. It's really important for them, because they say that it was real shock for them when they found out that their children don't see well, or they're totally blind. Yeah, it was such shock that they even got medical problems, not only mental, but also physical problems. So this sense of feeling that and motivation, and that you still have hope that everything's gonna be okay, and that you get information how to get the best out of the situation, that this is really important for this group of
definitely
of people who deal with this in their families, not for individuals, but the whole family. I mean, this was only perspective from the parents' view, no? Yeah.
It's very important that we don't forget parents, because it's for parents it can be very hard, because of course they want to help their child, but they don't know sometimes how, and burnout in parents can be very, very often in this group.
But even for old people, when they lose their sight, it's difficult, because sometimes they live alone, or they don't have a big family. So it is crucial, because in that case there are even more factors that could affect them. So it is also crucial to raise awareness about the people who live with this person, or if they are not living with anyone, the neighbors or the doorman, so that they don't get stuck at home fearing that they cannot get outside and so on.
Yeah.
So, Maša, will you continue with the presentation?
Maybe if we may, because our meeting is going to end in 20 minutes. So I would like to know how did you experience this presentation? Was something new for you? What were you thinking about during what we were discussing, what I was talking about?
Everyone is quiet.
Yeah, this can actually be a very heavy topic in some way. So that's why
it's this kind of topic that it's really important, no? And we talk like so many times about our mental health, no? And we are all aware of it, like what should we do? But
yeah, but in a real life situation, it can be, sometimes it can be a challenge.
Yeah, and then so many like different situations, different factors appear, and you cannot cope with it anymore, no? It's not so easy to cope with it.
Definitely not. Yeah, there are many factors that impact mental health. I mentioned just few of these factors. So that's why I asked you at the beginning, what do you think mental health is? Because it's a really complex thing that sometimes we talk about it, but when something happens to us, sometimes we just forget also how we feel, what is going on actually inside us. So maybe,
if I just add one more thing, I was at it was a seminar like 1 year ago, and it was psychotherapist presenting how actually this professional knowledge that psychotherapists have, no, it's just actually small part of the whole process. It's important, but the empathy and the like listening to someone, it's like the most crucial thing, like Barbara said. The psychotherapist or psychologist didn't have to say anything. She just listened to me, and then I got out the burden, and I felt so much better. No, so I think it's really important that we have someone that we can lean on.
Definitely.
And someone who also understands us, no, because this is also important that
during my psychology and also psychotherapy training, and also when I started working with clients, I really saw that the most important thing is that we need to be able somehow sometimes just to be there, because clients can open very heavy topics that can also touch us as people who should be able to deal with such things. But at the end, we're all human actually, and sometimes sometimes it can be challenging. That's why it's so important to take care of ourselves and having this empathy to really just active listen to someone who are you talking to can be a good intervention actually from different mental health issues. So sometimes when we listen to people and feel like, oh no, I really don't know what to say, sometimes the most thing that people really often don't have this feeling is that they feel that they're listened to, that there is someone, and sometimes that can be enough.
There's Madeline who's writing something. She's trying to say something, but her microphone doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay, now I see that Madeline, you have the microphone on. If you can say something now. She said she tried to the unmute button and yeah, but still not working. Oh, that's the technology. There is always a person that something does not go good, right? So Madeline, maybe you can write down something. Okay, she's writing something. Okay, so she cannot, it does not work, and she just wanted us to know that she was trying to speak, but it's not working. Yeah. And she wrote that very interesting talk, though, so thank you.
Thank you. So maybe I'm very curious about how do you all take care of your mental health? Is there time actually for that? Can you find it? Because sometimes I think that we feel that we don't have time for that. And I said before, when you introduced me, when you said how I actually care in some way for my mental health, when you asked me that a day before, when I listened to you, it sounded so easy in some way. But yeah, it can be very challenging sometimes to find time for yourself during all things you have to do or you think you need to do them now. So yeah.
So also Barbara wants to say something, but we cannot hear her. Nacho, do you know what could be the problem for this?
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
I mean, maybe, I don't know if from your side, you have the option of muting participants. Yes.
Yes, but I didn't mute anyone.
Yeah.
And I see the microphone is on. So maybe they have the wrong microphone.
Or maybe I don't know if they are using headphones, or maybe this headphone doesn't because sometimes this has happened to me in online calls and in the recording of the podcast in the past. But maybe what we can do is just ask if they're using headphones to unplug them and see if they can speak or listen to us by just plugging the headphone from the computer.
It's weird because she spoke before, so
it's strange. It's strange, actually. It's strange, but Barbara, are you using headphones, or
maybe the headphones also have a mute button on them? Not in Zoom, but but yes, she was speaking previously, so
yeah, I mean, Barbara is reconnecting, and he's
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I went out and now I switched again. So maybe I can hear you, but I think that you didn't hear me. Is it possible to say now something or not?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
What Maša said, our experiences with mental health. I think for me personally, it's very important. I'm maybe the oldest one, but it is very important that I sleep enough. If I don't sleep enough, I cannot function well. So sleeping is very important, and then also physical activities.
Yeah.
Also very important. It's also not possible always to be physical active because there are many things to do at home and also otherwise, and also to have enough personal contacts with our peers and with other people too, because also if we are in the contact with other people who are sighted, who are full-sighted, it's also very important to tell them what is how looks like our situation, that what we can do, what we cannot do, and we are so very. It's good for them that they also know how is to live without sight or without sight, and what is also important, not to have too much contacts. It's also very stressful sometimes, and also what also Maša said today, not to have too many goals and not to have enough time for all actions, I think is also important. And also to also be thankful, I think, for everything, for people, for family, for life, for everything. I think it's very important. It's very important that we are thankful, because these are twins. Happiness and to be thankful are twins. If you are thankful, you are also more happy than if you are not thankful. If we are always expecting from others what he or she didn't do, or he or she should do but she didn't, and so on. So I think so. and to walk with small steps, I think, is also important. And one thing I would like to share, also peer support, peer supporting groups are very, very important also for us, I think so. Really, the crucial and the help of a good psychotherapists also, I think. And I'm very happy that now we have the center of National Center of Rehabilitation for Blind and Partially Sighted people in our country, because it took many years that this center was grown, but now we have it, and there are also working two psychologists and all who can learn us many things and help us. I was maybe 2 or 3 years a part of a group of elderly people, and it was very nice to share our experiences with them and to go there. So I'm really thankful for all things. Thank you. And also for today's presentation, Maša. Thank you.
Thank you for your experience. Thank you for sharing. You said that it's very important to be thankful, and another thing that I think it's also very important is to be kind to ourselves, especially when we are in a situation or if we feel something that feels maybe heavy or it's very stressful, that we try to accept also our feelings and don't be like, no, I shouldn't feel that, I shouldn't do that, I should feel this and this and this. But that we try to, that we try to be kind to ourselves, no matter what is happening to us.
Okay, then, Maša, if there is no more comments, then I think maybe some conclusion from your side.
I would really like to thank you for taking your time to be here. I really hope that you got something out for yourself of this presentation. If you have any questions, comments, you can always also contact me if you want. So thank you.
Okay,
thank you to you, and don't get upset about how much silence you get during the session. Sometimes it's hard to participate, but you, at least in my case, you provided me some tips to think of. So I am thankful for that, and it's been great to participate today.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Maša. It was really interesting also for me, and I wish you good luck with your
thank you.
With your next with your studies. Maybe you can share with us what will be the topic of your doctoral studies.
I will study how the impact of silence as a therapeutic technique in psychotherapy.
Impact of silence?
Of silence, yeah. And in my master study, I studied actually how do psychotherapists experience psychotherapy with people with different types of disabilities.
So, okay. Well, good luck, Maša.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, everybody, for attending today. We really appreciate at our union that that you came and you participated on this webinar and the previous 2 webinars, and it was really nice and like interesting educational experience for us, because we were the first time hosting this kind of webinars, international webinars, and it was really nice experience. Thank you, Nacho. Thank you, Amadine, for your help, because they are from the UVU. So I think we coordinated really nice. And yeah, I hope to meet you again on another occasion. And I wish you all a wonderful December and nice holidays and nice weekend also, because it's Friday.
Same goes to you, Nastya. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you all. Thank you and bye-bye. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.